Section 250.64e of the National Electrical Code, or NEC, specifies requirements for the electrical continuity and secure fastening of metal enclosures used as grounding electrode conductors. Let's consider an electrical installation where a metal enclosure, such as a conduit, is used to connect a grounding electrode, such as a water pipe or ground rod, to an electrical panel or equipment. To ensure proper grounding, the metal enclosure must meet certain criteria. Firstly, electrical continuity. The metal enclosure must be electrically continuous from the point where it is attached to the cabinets or equipment, such as the grounding screw on an electrical panel, to the point where it connects to the grounding electrode. This means that there should be no breaks or interruptions in the metal path. Secondly, secure fastening. The metal enclosure must be securely fastened to the ground clamp or fitting that connects it to the grounding electrode. This ensures that the enclosure will not become loose or disconnected, compromising the grounding connection. For example, imagine a commercial building where a metal conduit is installed to connect the grounding electrode, a water pipe, to the main electrical panel. The conduit is securely fastened to the grounding clamp on the water pipe and the grounding screw on the electrical panel, ensuring electrical continuity and secure fastening. To elaborate on electrical continuity, it is essential that the metal enclosure provides an uninterrupted path for ground fault current to flow back to the source. Any breaks or high resistance connections can impede this flow, potentially leading to elevated voltage on metal parts and increasing the risk of electric shock. Methods to ensure electrical continuity include using listed fittings designed for grounding, overlapping and securely fastening sections of metal enclosure, and utilizing bonding jumpers where necessary to bypass any potential discontinuities. Moving on to secure fastening, proper mechanical connection of the metal enclosure to both the grounding electrode and the electrical equipment is crucial. This involves using appropriate hardware, such as bolts, screws, or clamps, that are suitable for the specific type of enclosure and the materials being joined. The fastener should be tightened to the manufacturer's specifications to ensure a reliable and vibration-resistant connection. Furthermore, regular inspections should be conducted to verify that the fasteners remain tight and that there is no evidence of corrosion or damage that could compromise the connection. Let's delve deeper into the concept of grounding electrode conductors and their role in electrical safety. A grounding electrode conductor, or GEC, is a conductor used to connect the equipment grounding system and the grounded conductor of an electrical system to a grounding electrode. The grounding electrode is typically a metal rod, pipe, plate, or other approved device that is buried in the earth and provides a low impedance path for ground fault current to flow back to the source. The purpose of the grounding electrode system is to stabilize the voltage to ground during normal operation and to provide a path for fault current to flow in the event of a ground fault. This helps to trip the overcurrent protective device, such as a circuit breaker or fuse, and to energize the circuit, thereby reducing the risk of electric shock or fire. The size of the grounding electrode conductor is determined by the size of the service entrance conductors, as specified in the NEC. It is important to select the correct size of conductor to ensure that it can safely carry the maximum available fault current. The grounding electrode conductor must be installed in a manner that protects it from physical damage. This may involve running it through a metal conduit or other protective raceway. The grounding electrode conductor must also be securely connected to the grounding electrode in the equipment grounding system. This is typically done using approved connectors or clamps. In addition to the requirements for grounding electrode conductors, the NEC also contains requirements for bonding. Bonding is the process of connecting together all metal parts that are likely to become energized during a fault. This includes metal enclosures, raceways, and equipment housings. The purpose of bonding is to create a low impedance path for fault current to flow back to the source, thereby helping to trip the overcurrent protective device and to energize the circuit. Bonding is typically accomplished using bonding jumpers, which are conductors that are used to connect together the various metal parts. The size of the bonding jumpers is determined by the size of the circuit conductors, as specified in the NEC. It is important to select the correct size of bonding jumpers to ensure that they can safely carry the maximum available fault current. Bonding jumpers must be installed in a manner that protects them from physical damage. They must also be securely connected to the metal parts that they are bonding together. The NEC also contains requirements for equipment grounding. Equipment grounding is the process of connecting the non-current carrying metal parts of electrical equipment to the equipment grounding system. This includes metal enclosures, raceways, and equipment housings. The purpose of equipment grounding is to provide a low impedance path for fault current to flow back to the source, thereby helping to trip the overcurrent protective device and to energize the circuit. Equipment grounding is typically accomplished using equipment grounding conductors, or ECs, which are conductors that are used to connect the metal parts of electrical equipment to the equipment grounding system. The size of the equipment grounding conductors is determined by the size of the circuit conductors, as specified in the NEC. It is important to select the correct size of equipment grounding conductors to ensure that they can safely carry the maximum available fault current. Equipment grounding conductors must be installed in a manner that protects them from physical damage. They must also be securely connected to the metal parts of the electrical equipment and the equipment grounding system. The NEC also contains requirements for ground fault circuit interrupters, or GFCIs. GFCIs are devices that are designed to protect people from electric shock. They work by monitoring the current flowing in the circuit and tripping the circuit if they detect a difference of more than a few milliamperes between the current flowing to the load and the current returning from the load. This difference in current indicates that some of the current is leaking to ground, which could be a sign of a ground fault. GFCIs are required in certain locations, such as bathrooms, kitchens, and outdoor areas, where there is a high risk of electric shock. They are also required for certain types of equipment, such as portable generators and cord and plug-connected appliances. The NEC also contains requirements for arc fault circuit interrupters, or ASIs. ASIs are devices that are designed to protect people from fires caused by arcing faults. Arcing faults are dangerous electrical faults that can occur when there is a break in the insulation of a wire or a loose connection. The arc that is produced by an arcing fault can generate a lot of heat, which can ignite nearby combustible materials and start a fire. ASIs work by monitoring the current flowing in the circuit and tripping the circuit if they detect the characteristics of an arcing fault. ASIs are required in certain locations, such as bedrooms, living rooms, and dining rooms, where there is a high risk of fires caused by arcing faults. In addition to the requirements for grounding, bonding, equipment grounding, GFCIs, and ASIs, the NEC also contains many other requirements for electrical safety. These requirements are designed to protect people from electric shock and fires caused by electrical hazards. It is important to be familiar with the NEC and to follow its requirements when installing and maintaining electrical systems. Now, let's return to the specific requirements of Section 250.64e and discuss some practical considerations for ensuring compliance. When selecting metal enclosures for grounding electrode conductors, it is important to choose enclosures that are listed for grounding purposes. These enclosures are designed to provide a reliable electrical connection and to withstand the stresses of a fault current. The enclosure should also be sized appropriately for the size of the grounding electrode conductor. When installing the metal enclosure, it is important to ensure that all connections are clean and tight. Any dirt, corrosion, or loose connections can increase the resistance of the grounding path and reduce its effectiveness. The connections should be made using approved connectors or clamps that are designed for the specific type of enclosure and conductor. When connecting the metal enclosure to the grounding electrode, it is important to use a grounding electrode clamp that is listed for the purpose. The clamp should be made of a material that is compatible with the grounding electrode and the enclosure. The clamp should also be sized appropriately for the size of the grounding electrode and the enclosure. When connecting the metal enclosure to the electrical equipment, it is important to use a grounding bushing or other approved fitting. The fitting should be designed to provide a reliable electrical connection between the enclosure and the equipment grounding system. The fitting should also be sized appropriately for the size of the enclosure and the equipment grounding conductor. In addition to the installation requirements, it is also important to perform regular inspections of the grounding system to ensure that it is in good working order. The inspection should include checking the tightness of all connections, looking for signs of corrosion or damage, and testing the resistance of the grounding path. If any problems are found, they should be corrected immediately. Consider a scenario where an electrician is installing a new electrical panel in a commercial building. The electrician decides to use a metal conduit to protect the grounding electrode conductor that runs from the panel to a ground rod outside the building. To comply with Section 250.64e, the electrician must ensure that the metal conduit is electrically continuous from the point where it attaches to the electrical panel to the point where it connects to the ground rod. This means that all couplings, connectors, and fittings used to join sections of the conduit must be properly tightened and made of a conductive material. The electrician must also ensure that the conduit is securely fastened to the ground rod using a listed grounding clamp. This clamp must be designed to provide a reliable electrical connection between the conduit and the ground rod. Furthermore, the electrician must ensure that the conduit is securely fastened to the electrical panel using a grounding bushing or other approved fitting. This fitting must be designed to provide a reliable electrical connection between the conduit and the panel's grounding system. By following these steps, the electrician can ensure that the metal conduit provides a safe and effective grounding path for the electrical system. This helps to protect people from electric shock and to prevent fires caused by electrical faults. It's worth noting that the specific requirements for grounding and bonding can vary depending on the type of electrical system and the location of the installation. Therefore, it is always important to consult the latest edition of the NEC and to follow the instructions of a qualified electrician. Another important aspect to consider is the potential for corrosion. Metal enclosures and fittings that are exposed to the elements or to corrosive environments can corrode over time, which can weaken the electrical connection and reduce the effectiveness of the grounding system. To prevent corrosion, it is important to use materials that are resistant to corrosion, such as stainless steel or galvanized steel. It is also important to protect the enclosures and fittings from exposure to the elements by painting them or coating them with a protective sealant. In addition to the requirements for metal enclosures, the NEC also contains requirements for non-metallic enclosures. Non-metallic enclosures are often used in residential and light commercial applications where corrosion is a concern. When using non-metallic enclosures, it is important to ensure that the grounding electrode conductor is properly connected to the grounding electrode and to the equipment grounding system. This can be accomplished by using a grounding bar or other approved device that is mounted inside the enclosure. The grounding electrode conductor must be securely connected to the grounding bar and to the equipment grounding system. It is also important to ensure that the non-metallic enclosure is properly bonded to the equipment grounding system. This can be accomplished by using a bonding jumper that connects the enclosure to the equipment grounding conductor. The bonding jumper must be sized appropriately for the size of the circuit conductors and must be securely connected to the enclosure and the equipment grounding conductor. The requirements of Section 250.64e are intended to ensure that metal enclosures used for grounding electrode conductors provide a safe and effective grounding path for electrical systems. By following these requirements, electricians and other qualified personnel can help to protect people from electric shock and to prevent fires caused by electrical faults. Regular inspections and maintenance of the grounding system are also essential to ensure that it remains in good working order.